gather around, humanoids, as I will be telling the tale of adventure of one of my favorite characters I've played thusly in Dungeons and Dragons. Lyst Kiefen. I'm sure you've all played a D&D character that you've really enjoyed role-playing, who you knew you could goof off with but used their nature as an excuse. Even as a bit of a goofball, you were still very valuable to the team. Anyways, Lyst was a kobold shadow monk with the detective background. He loves solving mysteries and getting some shiny coins for the response. He was raised in a kobold civilization within a mountainside, not mindlessly working for some dragon like other kobold groupings. His relatives were kobold gem cutters, definitely on the more wealthy side of the kobolds. They took fascination in the gems that could sparkle shinier than the stars themselves. However, growing up, he had no interest whatsoever in letting these shiny rocks be his life, just his currency and playthings. Don't get me wrong, he loved shiny objects, but he wanted a little bit more. Constant fidgeting and deciding for himself if he stayed and learned the ways of his father, he could live a life that was in comfort amongst the fellow kobolds. One day, he chose to take his leave from the kobold civilization and find the outside world. Following the tunnels dug out by the kobolds, he wandered to find the exit with a simple bag of essentials, such as food on his side and a gem cutting kit to pass the time. Soon, light shone at the end of the path. He sped up, kicking his feet as high as he could to leap into the fresh scent of liberation from these metaphorical stone cuffs. Immediately as he landed on his feet, out of the cave entrance, the sky was blue, the fields were green of grass and life, and the sun was shining. Wait, is that a sun? And so began the adventure of my poor little kobold. He was basically trying to maneuver his way around by covering his eyes with his hands. He, however, had no idea as to where he was going. He began to take a much faster path, and by that I mean he tripped and began to fall down like a rolling stone. So this was the beginning of it all. He was found by a monk master and was taught under his guidance the martial arts, turning his body into a rough and refined weapon, capable of running at top speeds, being agile, and striking more than once by channeling in their inner strength. Soon after, he will be sent into the army to fight as a rookie alongside them to defend their cities and protect their land. Lyst personally did not have a care, but apparently it was a way of repaying the old man for the training. With having joined the army, he was paired in a squad to take on missions given by the military. The very first mission given to us. People have been disappearing across the capital. We needed to find the source of why and how. Our party was composed of a bear totem barbarian dwarf, an artificer, a dragonborn fighter with a bow, a tiefling ranger, and a cleric. We took to the streets and started to check the areas where the disappearances had occurred. One of the clues was a boy who was by the sewer grate was now gone, and all that was left behind, a slimy, viscous liquid and his lollipop. I checked for a red balloon, said the dragonborn out of character, but luckily, no balloon was found. Many investigations later, we started to hear sounds emitting from the sewers themselves. As confident as I was to leap into one of the grates and head on, the team wanted to take a more safe approach. Oh no, we can't risk being eaten alive by whatever this may be. Think responsibly and do the smart thing. I simply puffed out my cheeks, if kobolds have any, I'm not sure, and went along as I grumbled away. They asked our general for a mapping of the sewer system and found the primary pipe exit of the sewers by the water side. We soon took our entrance to the pipe. It was large, approximately 20 feet in radius. They were all afraid and wanted to set up bait to catch the monster. The barbarian simply slapped on a feminine voice and started to pretend with the artificer that they were children, just playing in the open. Some time passed in real time. Even with minor illusions of child laughter, nothing happened. So Lyst sighed. He was tired. And he soon took the head on to venture into the pipe. Going in, he could see the dark just fine, being a kobold living in the mountainside. Soon, something however caught his eye. Hundreds of feet into the pipe, a shining bauble was suspended in midair. He squinted at it, looked around as the cleric prepared behind him for anything that may be. I just let out a laugh, leapt up into the air, hand outstretched and grasped the ring. It was only then Lyst soon felt his body get enveloped, as he now was suspended in midair. List began to shake and wobble. The ring luckily was now in hand, however. Attached to it was another hand, a skeletal one to be exact, bone and no flesh or skin left behind. Everyone soon charged down the pipe to see what was going on. To their eyes as it began to move, a giant acidic slime was in front of their path, skeletal remains around it, in the trail of slime it left behind. List screamed in pain from the acid burning into him as he was slowly being digested. They all began to throw their hits into it. The barbarian swung his favorite axe only for it to slightly get eroded from the slime as it sunk in, making him rather sad, but not backing down from the fight. The tiefling ranger began to shoot her bow and arrow at the slime. The arrow is true as can be, however it simply slips through and stabs into List, moving him forward slightly. The dragonborn saw this and just kept distance, also trying to shoot the slime. She was doing fairly well, hitting the actual slime itself. The battle went on in this dark sewer as they tried their best to kill the massive creature. Unsure if the actual thing was taking damage or not, the barbarian kept letting out an onslaught to the slime, enjoying himself as basically a massive target. List himself tried his best to swim forward to come out of the other end of the slime. One way or another, it was skeleton in hand, 5 feet of movement. Awesome! Let me say, this was a 20-foot cube slime, and it was so clear it was hard to see it was even there. Soon, the people at the ground swinging at the slime got swallowed up as it inched forward, engulfing them into its body. Screams ensued from the burning of our skin. List wasn't looking good. In fact, he wasn't good at all. He was unconscious. Inside the slime, he was floating and unmoving, letting the acid burn into him further. People began to panic. One auto-death fail save per turn of the slime because it damaged me with its acid. My only hope was to get straight saves, or else I was guaranteed death. The cleric kicked into action, using healing word. Thank God, you don't need to hear it for it to heal. And soon List was back onto his feet within the next round. And by his feet, I mean floating in gelatinous acid. Immediately he wasted no time and doggy paddled out of there. His upper torso was out as he dangled from the slime, screaming for help. Soon, one of the party members came and grabbed him by the arms before the acid could take him out once more and yanked him free from the ooze. Tumbling down, now covered in residue of the acid, List set priority straight. He removed the ring from the skeletal finger and put it on himself. This is nice. Very shiny. He looked at the silver ring, enjoying it. Then soon, battle began. List leapt up vertically to slam down his quarterstaff. The slime jiggled in response, unwavering from the hits. List huffed and began a flurry of blows, throwing a kick and a punch its way to immediately get his fist sunken in. He panicked and had no idea what to do. This kept on, and I'm a bit fuzzy on the details, however. I believe it went down when someone cast a fire spell, taking it down as it exploded in slime coating the walls. The people gone missing were already far gone, and we reported back to our general, and we were paid for a mission well done, with several physical casualties amongst us. Introduced to our rooms and given the next day off to relax. How's it going, goblins and humanoids and orcs and all of the assorted races? This was my first ever animatic ever of any type of variety, but it's also my first D&D animatic, so a double first, I suppose, if you want to call it that, or I suppose I am just extending this needlessly long. Either case, I hope you enjoyed yourself and I hope you enjoyed the content. Now, what I do want to do is I want to ask you guys, what did you think of the art style that I provided in this animatic? I do understand some of it may look a little sloppy, or a little bit, rough, judging by the lines and how they're redrawn, or, however it may be. I never realized how much work goes into an animatic, really, but I wanted to kind of give a bit of a higher quality art style in comparison to something that looks a little cheap and fully colored in. However, I think I might give a shot to a more simple art style, but color it in, at least with flat colors, and see how that gets in response. I might make some drafts and post them on Twitter for you guys to see for yourselves. But whatever you guys think, I am happy to listen to, and I'm happy to take any pointers such as, was the music too loud somewhere? Or was this effect a little jarring? Or whatever it may have it. Any critiques, I'll accept them, and I hope you all enjoyed my Dungeons & Dragons story. I guess to be flat out, I am playing 5th edition. That might be a little obvious based off of the classes. But most of my stories will be 5th edition. I do wish to play 3.5, however, I have not exactly met a group that is playing 3.5. I'm trying to seek if I can find a group online, but for now, that's how it will be. If you guys want more of this content, please let me know in the comment section below. Remember to click that subscribe button to always follow and get notifications by ringing that bell, as the people say. I'm still somewhat unfamiliar with the bell thing, and I hope to see you soon. Yeah, I'm glad you watched the video to the end, and I hope you have a good time. See ya.
You're so scaly. Oh yeah? Well, you're horny.